Hi everybody, my name is Brian. It's really nice to meet you guys, and thanks Norbert for having me today. I say yes to every opportunity given to me to introduce my company and what I do, and why would I say no? I am a startup founder, CEO and co-founder of Woodstock Club, so it's a pleasure to talk about what we do and why we're doing this, and also I can introduce a little bit about me and what I've been doing on board this as well. So maybe a little bit about me before going into Woodstock. So I've been living in Japan for about 16 years. I never anticipated that I would live here this long, but some of you are here longer. But I came here first in 2007, and my first career in Japan was in engineering. So I was a software engineer for about 3 years in the finance sector, building trading systems. And then I took an opportunity to be on equity trading side at Merrill Lynch, and then subsequently Morgan Stanley. So I did about 6 or 7 years of trading. So combined with engineering for Barclays, I spent about 10 years in the institutional equity trade, both as an engineer and as a trader. Then I moved on to Twitter. I wanted to do something different. I also happened to go to business school around that time, so I was thinking about exploring some other things in life and a midlife crisis, or just exploring some new channels. So I joined Twitter, still early for Twitter to enter Japanese market. So end of 2015, I joined Twitter to learn about social media, how things really scale, and I really fell in love with the social media and the sort of the power of conversation that it carries. So I joined Twitter, and I really enjoyed the growth stage and the ride of Twitter just becoming really big in Japan. So I saw that growth with the company, and I had two different functions. I initially joined to look at corporate finance side of things, and then I also then took the job of the role of looking after the business, the fastest growth sort of business channels, so like owning P&L for business units, both Japan and Korea. So I did that for about 3.5 years at Twitter, and then I moved on to Coinbase. When Coinbase was trying to first come to Japan, they reached out to me as one of the early sort of members to set up the operation here. And Japan was their first market to try Asia, right? So the plan was to do Japan, and then to Singapore, and then other markets. So I joined with that ambition I also got into crypto and thought it was really interesting and fascinating, so I wanted to learn something new again. So joined Coinbase, and I spent about 2 years. Ended up doing a lot of regulatory work because it was basically trying to get it to launch and everything. Doing a lot of regulation work and learned a ton about how the FSA looks at things and stuff. Did it for 2 years up until the launch, and around the time of IPO I left. So that's 2 years ago, and I've been since then doing Woodstock Club for about 2 years. So that's my story, a little bit about who I am and what I've been doing. And now I'm excited to talk about Woodstock Club. So this is an app, and our mission is to empower the next generation to create a better financial future. What that means is we really focus our energy to hopefully empower the younger generation of Japan. And obviously there's many things that we can do for next generation, but I think the finance is one area that I'm passionate about and something that I can hopefully contribute to move the needle for the next generation to come. So we'll talk a little bit more about our approach to do that. This is the co-founder team. I'm the co-founder CEO. My two other co-founders, I have a Japanese co-founder named Daisuke. I met him at Twitter. We used to work together, and he also spent about 10 years at Nakamoto. And we have a CTO. He is a Chinese national, and he's a really brilliant engineer. He used to work at building a lot of their infrastructure and backbone systems. So that's the founding team. We have about 10 people now. We're 2 years old, and we're growing. Our new hire, Adanya, she's here, and she hasn't even started yet, but she wanted to learn more about Woodstock, so she is here. She just flew in 2 weeks ago to Japan, but she speaks better Japanese than me, so that's how amazing she is. So she's, definitely follow her. She's doing amazing things on social media, and there's a lot to learn about how to be a creator. Anyway, so the company we're well funded. We're a seed stage company now. We have investors in Japan as well as in the States. So one of them is my former company, Coinbase Ventures. Yeah, we also have two local investors, very respected investors in Japan. We also have Kindred and Hyper, who are also quite well known in San Francisco. So we have 5 institutional investors backing our company. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about the problem. So the problem, when I said we want to empower the next generation to have a better financial future, the problem that we see, or the government also sees, is that so much of the Japanese asset is just locked in cash and savings, and it's not getting circulated. It's just mottainai. It's not doing anything. And you can see the comparison versus the US. 54% of total asset, household asset in Japan is locked in currency and deposits, not earning anything. And then only 10% is invested in risky asset like equity. If you look at the US, it's the other way around. 40% is in equity, and then only 14% is in cash. So especially in an inflationary environment like we are in now, having cash, you're basically losing money. If you might be thinking that you're not investing, but you're actually long yen, so you're investing in yen because that's what you have. Your purchase power may go down. This is, I think, is a huge problem. The government also recognizes that this is a huge problem, and it's only going to get worse if we don't do something for the next generation. So, government is making some systematic changes, and that's really good. So Kishida government has been really aggressive in pushing this. So 2 things that they're doing, they are introducing new NISA so that there's a bigger capacity to do more tax savings investment. So they're pushing that, and so they are making these structural changes. And also they are putting financial education as a compulsory course for kids. So that's also really good to see. So you learn and get financial literacy at a younger age. And thanks to some of that changes and also like shift in mindset, the younger generation is waking up. And if you look at the number of trading accounts, for example, NISA accounts, it is definitely going up in the right direction. People are creating accounts more and more, and it's getting faster and faster. The question is, hi Eddie. Hey Brian. It's been 15 years.
Sorry for that.
Oh no, wow. It's been 15 years, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thanks for coming. Yeah. So people are creating, the younger generation is waking up and they're creating more trading accounts. So they're understanding the value of investing, which is really good to see. But it's still small, relatively speaking, if you compare to the rest of the world. So the question is, how do we make this faster and faster? By the way, this chart was from the World Business Ally, a very popular program. That day, actually, we were also featured on this channel, Tokyo, as part of this theme about Gen Z investing. So we think that social media is the answer, and this is where our company comes in. So we think social media is the answer because Japan is really active, and especially the younger people are very active on social media. Elon Musk said Japan has higher total user minutes than the US, so Japan is actually number 1. And that's actually nothing new. When I was at Twitter in 2016, it was already like that. So it never really changed. So we know that Japanese people actually like to talk about things on social media. They may be shy to talk about things like finance and other things in real person, but as soon as they get anonymity, like if they can talk using their avatar or whatever, and not using their real name, they actually very active. So that's what we've been seeing, and that's what I learned from Twitter. Like, people do talk about stuff a lot. And you can see that from Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, a lot of conversations happening about finance and their sort of uncertainty and their flaw about the outcome and their future and what happens after their retirement, all these like worries. It's really happening on social media and it's very visible. So we know that the problem exists, and we know that people hang out in these platforms. So our answer then should really be, how do we get people to really get their first step into, take the first step into investing? Because it may be risky, right? But if you've never done it, you don't understand the value, and you don't understand, if you've never done it, you never learn. We thought the answer, the key to this problem is that we need to make it really easy to get that first experience by lowering the hurdle of, it doesn't need to be a lot of amount of money. Younger people may not even have that much money. So we make it super cost effective so that you can actually try it. And you need to have a good experience, right? You need to, even if you lose like 10%, 20%, it can just be a small amount. If you earn and if you learn, that's great. But even if you lose some money, it needs to be a really good experience. So we need to create a good social experience and give that benefit, give that value when they do this so that they can come back and do this. So our thesis is that if we can make it socially fun on social media, then it can scale as a platform. And more people will trade and they will have a better experience because they're just having fun with other people. Then they will just bring more users. And our sort of flywheel will spin. So that's the thesis that we're testing now. And that's the app, that's the product that we have. So we are starting with US stocks. And there's a couple reasons for this. Japanese stocks are quite expensive. It's not really affordable. You have to buy from 100 shares. A lot of the companies are quite, if you have to buy 100 shares, it's quite expensive. And also, a lot of the younger generation, in their daily routine, they're using a lot of American brands. So they are more familiar with American sort of companies these days. Like you're ordering food from Uber, you're wearing Nike shoes, and you're always constantly using, like you're using Apple, iPhone, or Android, whatever. Like you're very familiar with these companies. There has been a lot more interest from the younger generation, and the growth of the trading accounts shows that US stocks has been way more popular than the Japanese stocks. So we felt that's the right sort of service that we should offer. And then we wanted to offer the social media experience as I explained. And then so therefore we are providing a social media base. And I'm gonna just play a quick video. Yeah, so that's just a quick image of what the product looks like and what it's designed to do. Let me just break it down. So we have a timeline-based sort of conversations where people can just communicate, find and discover new information, and find new people, and find new stocks, for example. And then we have this functional value where you can actually invest, right? As little as 1,000 yen. And we wanted, that's what I meant by affordable, something that's just very real. And then there's portfolio sharing. So I can share my portfolio with Eddie, and Eddie can see Norbert's portfolio, and we can all share that experience and portfolio returns. And, oh, why did you buy it here? Why did you sell it here? I think it's still gonna go up. Why did you just buy this Tesla at this price? It's too expensive. You can have that kind of conversation and have that sort of interesting interactions with them. And luckily, Japanese people are very polite, so we need to hopefully worry less about being abusive and all that kind of stuff that you would otherwise worry about in some other countries. So there's that. And then there's asset management where you have this nice visual pie chart and you can see how much is your cash balance, how much is your stock balance, and you can kind of like look at it and that good stuff. And you can also share that pie chart. So that's what it looks like online, the chart. So we try to make everything very simple. So there's no candle chart, no sophisticated, no like technical stuff, right? We just keep it very simple. And portfolio, so this is like activities, like what you bought and how much is your allocation. And you can kind of see that in a time series manner as well, when you bought, when you sold. And then this will be like a pie chart. We're actually going to try to change this to. And then these are like the real people trading on our platform. We picked up some of them. So this would be how many stocks you have, how many times you traded, what's your current unrealized return, sort of like so you can kind of see what everybody is doing. This obviously is not mandatory, you don't have to share. A lot of the people who join our app understand the value of this app, so they culturally just want to share because they want to see the people as well. And then, yeah, so we are a startup, so we iterate very fast. We check what's working, and then we decide to double down on things that's working, and then we can also sometimes scrap what's not working. So we've been iterating very, very quickly. Every Saturday we push a new release update to the app. And so in April, these are the things that we did. We achieved a new record number of trades per day. That was really nice to see. So the people are getting more and more active on the app, and trading more and more. And we now support from 18-year-old. We previously only supported from 20 plus, but now it's 18 because 18 is now the legal age in Japan to looking into investment. We also kicked off an internship program. So we believe like investing is good, but like, when we are saying empowering the next generation for finance, it's not just about investing. Like we want to also help if we can to help the client do a little part so that they can actually start a good career and then have a disposable income, then maybe they can also think about investing. So yeah, we're trying to also have this kind of program going on, internships, and just helping them learn more about finance and educate at financial literacy. And then we added rankings. So the ranking has been really fun. You can have your performance and you can share performance with other people, but once you have a ranking, there's a little bit of the competitive nature, right? Oh, I want to move up this leaderboard, right? So there's a little bit of gamification that's built into that experience. And then we also have this live trade feature, which is also very well accepted. This is something that you don't see in other platforms, right? So what happens is, right now it's 10:30. Right now, U.S. market opens at 10:30 to 10:10 right now. So at 10:30, you basically see who's buying what and who's selling what, and you basically get to see that. You tap and see, oh, this person is buying this today, this person is selling this today, and then that's actually very fun. It drives conversations. It also drives new trades as well. Sometimes people choose to follow other people's trades because they think it's good, and it just gets engaging. So yeah, so we've launched live trade last month, and we've also added 15 more new symbols. So we just keep adding. And the huge advantage of having a timeline as part of the app is that people can just make product requests and also complain sometimes right in the app. And we can be very transparent with the community. It's like, oh, this is not working, can you fix it? Or I want this symbol, can you make it available so I can trade? And then we can respond. Of course, we cannot guarantee that we'll do everything, but we can respond in a way that is constructive, and also it helps us prioritize what is the customer's need and what's working. So, yeah, so basically the user journey would be something like that. As soon as the pre-market opens, we start showing the live trades. People are entering orders, and then you see who's buying what today, and then you check, let's say Tesla is the most popular name today, and then you tap Tesla, you see the chart, and then you basically can make that decision to buy it by tap. It's very quick. It takes about 1 or 2 seconds to actually get to the final confirmation screen. Then we can talk about your portfolio if you wanted to. You can kind of share your portfolio, saying like, oh hey, this is the sector level breakdown, or this is the names that I own. What do you guys think? Or I'd like to know what other people are doing. And then you can see the ranking and see you're going up and down the leaderboard. So that's the journey that you would see typically. So right now we're only scratching the surface. So as I mentioned, we're focusing the app to be beginner friendly, and we're keeping it very simple so that we can get the younger people to take the first leap of faith and place the first trade. So we're keeping it very simple. That's our phase 1. Phase 2 would be creator economy. What we want to do is, like, the beginners need to learn from more experienced people in portfolio allocation. How do you think about the investment? How do you think about budget allocation? What's a good amount to invest? Or how do you read financial statements? How do you actually understand these ratios? Like whatever, right? So you can ask these questions, but creators need to have something so that they can keep going, right? And help these other people. So it's like a two-sided platform from that perspective. So we want to help creators, and creator economy would work if we can give them some benefit. Therefore, what we're going to build is, and this is going to be very unique to Woodstock. So on other platforms where creators hang out, like TikTok or Instagram or Twitter, if you have more followers, more people looking at you, you're a better creator, right? Like you get more visibility, you get more network, right? But here, you can actually start with 0 followers and still be a really valuable creator. The reason is that we have validated performance, right? So if you are making a high return on your portfolio, then you don't have to actually have followers. People will see that you're a high performer and you become a creator right now, just like that, right? So what that allows you to do is, now I want to just open a live chat with all my followers, super followers, let's say, right? All my paid followers. And I want to just have a space to discuss what I'm just about to buy. I'm going to tell you why I'm buying this, my thesis around this investment, and I'm going to talk about that. So a lot of people can join that discussion and learn, right? So that's the creator economy that we imagine, which is very different from the other creator platforms. And we're very optimistic about our phase 2. And people, right now, even without this incentive, we have a lot of creators who are just hanging out on our platform just because they like to talk. There are always people like that, right? And once we have this creator program going, then I think we hope it will be more scalable, and they will just have more fun, and also create some income. And we will probably, we haven't really discussed it. We haven't really finalized what the economics will be, but following the creator sort of model, we'll pass back most, if not all, most of that return back to the creator. And we'll make money from the other side who are actually making the trades following that. That's our, and then the phase 3 would be to go after the whale. So this is really for profitability and for the large size tickets we need. Right now our app is really for beginners, and we're also like intentionally charging premium percentage fee on every trade, but that's not going to work for large tickets and large traders. So we will have more sophisticated tools and real bells and whistles and web-based and desktop view with more power to them, right? So we also do that. Thankfully, since our launch, we only launched in January, so since our launch, thankfully we've been growing quite nicely. And in every metric, number of trades, number of trading accounts, number of trades per user, and notional trading amount. I heard this slides are going to be available on recording, so I took down all the numbers just before this. But but we're growing quite nicely. And actually I can share one number in the next video. Average number of trades per user per month is currently about 13. So if you think about this, if you have any brokerage account, you may trade maybe once or twice. If you're trading a lot, maybe once or twice a month on average, maybe. We're trading 13 times a month on average per person. So that's how easy it is, how seamless it is, how fun it is to trade on this stuff. So that shows how active people are. Robinhood, we're not really like Robinhood, but a lot of people think we're like Robinhood, so we wanted to benchmark Robinhood. What does it mean to be really active, right? Because the Robinhood traders are active, or have been. So at the peak, like just before their IPO, so this is from their S-1 their DAU over MAU was 40%. So for every monthly user, 40% of them were using it on a daily basis. So that's a lot. We're currently at 35%. So we're pretty close. And this will only grow as more and more people join and have that network effect. And we're hoping to exceed 40%, but we don't know. But hopefully, as our MAU grows, our DAU will grow quicker. So that's sort of the model that we are looking at, the metric that we're looking at as a social media, because we want to be like a social media platform, not Charles Schwab. Nothing wrong with Charles Schwab, but we're not a typical brokerage platform. And time on app, we actually surpassed this a few weeks ago already, but this was our Q1 number, and we're much higher now. But per day, per user, people on average are spending about 10 minutes, which is not bad, but we're gonna crush this number in this quarter by a pretty big margin. People are looking at it like a social media platform. Sorry, this is Japanese. I didn't have time to, because we usually do this in Japanese. We get a lot of fans who take the time to, these are just organic users, who take the time to just write something really nice messages about us and how thankful they are to have this platform, because they didn't have anything like this before, and they just have a place to hang out. It's a community where they can hang out, they can learn, and work with other people. And we get a lot of compliments from our users. We're just saying nice things about different aspects of things, like our KYC processes, our UI UX, our functionality to be able to trade from very little amounts and content and all this stuff. So we're getting a lot of feedback from users, and this is all happening on our timeline, right? So this is a huge advantage, I think, as a startup, so that we can get this right away. So that's it. That's the end of my presentation. Hopefully it was helpful. Please scan the QR code and download the app if you haven't already. And any feedback would be greatly appreciated. You can say hi on the timeline if you like. But that's us. That's Woodstock. Thanks for listening.